I'll just give it a few minutes to boot up.
Okay.
Open restream chat. Sound is the sound. Is the sound working? Question mark. And all right, I think everything is working. Would you like me to call you God's Final Messenger or Justin?
No, Justin.
Okay. So, Justin, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time to have a conversation with me. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Sure. I'm some guy on the internet claiming to be God's messenger.
It's good. It's good. So, I'm a guy on the internet claiming to be God's destroyer.
Okay. Okay.
So, I am an atheist, obviously, and as by an atheist, what I mean is I think that everything can be better explained by naturalism than theism. Could you tell me some of the reasons that you think theism is a better explanation than naturalism?
Well, naturalism, I don't think is saying anything, so there's nothing to really refute. I mean, you're saying that order in the universe and life and everything that we're seeing came about by means of naturalism. Um, I'm saying it came about by way of consciousness. So maybe you're calling the same what I'm calling something different. Like I'm calling it consciousness. You're calling it naturalism.
Or I'm by naturalism I mean a because what I mean by supernatural is a non-physical mind, and by natural I mean unguided forces. So when I say naturalism, I mean not a mind, essentially.
Okay, but we know that minds exist in the universe. That's a fact.
Right, non
You're a
not
mind. I'm a
non-physical
mind.
ones. So not a non-physical mind.
Well, a mind is non-physical. Like what happens in your imagination is not physical.
Yeah, it is based on the consensus in neurology, psychology, cognitive science, all of the empirical data, every field related to the mind. It's all physical. That's the
Well,
consensus right now.
if I imagine Mickey Mouse in my mind right now, I can't physically take that Mickey Mouse out of my mind. That's what I
Uh,
mean by it's not physical.
Actually, you can. So that's things that we can actually take memories. There's a recent study that was done a few months ago where they actually took a memory out of a snail and put the memory in another snail physically.
Okay, well, when I have thoughts, there's a physical process that happens in the brain. So people could look inside of the brain and see that something physically is going on, but they can't take the image Mickey Mouse out of my brain.
They've
Or
literally
like
done that. So they literally took a memory out of a snail and implanted it into a different snail.
okay, so if I imagined Walt Disney World, you cannot physically move that out. Or so, for example, if I started playing a song in my mind, if I started playing some song that I enjoy, you can't physically open my brain and hear that song that I'm playing inside of my mind.
Right, they'd have to take out the signals and then put the signals into a different brain, which they've done.
Okay,
So,
yeah. What I'm saying is like there's an interpretation of those of that sound, and that interpretation is what they're taking out of the brain. So, for example, they could see stuff light up in my brain, and those lights they can interpret those lights to mean something, and they could take those lights and put those lights in another person's brain, but they can't take the actual image of Mickey Mouse and take the image out of my brain, or
or
any image that I could conjure up. I could conjure up a unicorn. You can't take that unicorn out of my brain and physically place that physical unicorn because it's not a physical thing.
right, I can't take the sound out of a CD, but I can put the CD in a different computer and get the sound.
Absolutely, and because there's a physical component to reality and there's a conscious component to reality, and that's a very good example you just gave right there. There's a
Well,
physical component that they could take.
the CD doesn't have any sound in it. It's not
Okay,
like
yes,
there's sound
no,
in the CD. So consciousness is an emergent property of the brain, and it's all physical. So it's all just physical stuff. It's the electrical signals. Now we can take the electrical signals out, and those are the images. The images are just the electrical signals.
no. The electrical signals are not images. Images are something that's interpreted by consciousness. Electrical signals are electrical signals. Images are images. So when I go inside of my mind, I'm not seeing electrical lights. I'm seeing actual images of whatever I want to see. Those images are not physical. Those physicals are a construct. I could create any image I want in my mind. Those are
Nope,
not.
it's all physical. The image itself is literally a physical thing in your head. That's the consensus in every field in neurology. I mean, you can disagree with that if you want,
Okay.
but
Yes, I would highly disagree with that. I would call that like blatantly false.
uh,
Actually, like it's just blatantly false. Like that, you could take. Well, let's go back to the CD example. Like the sound of the CD, we just agreed on something, is not on the CD.
yep,
There's no sound on the CD. We just agreed to that.
yep.
Okay. So what I'm saying is like, just like there's no sound on the CD, there's no image on my electrical impulses in my brain. Just like there's no sound on the CD, there's no image on the electrical impulses. There are electrical impulses, just like there's a CD. Okay. Images and sound are something that are constructed by the conscious mind, something that is not material.
No, no, that is incorrect. It's literally the consensus is this physical thing. So there is, I mean, you can disagree, but it is every single field in every single thing related to the brain says it's all physical and there's nothing else. So
Okay.
it's
Well,
just you just asserting otherwise is just false. There's just
no, no,
nothing
no.
that
Well,
supports your basis whatsoever.
okay.
It's
Well,
all it's
I'm
all
sorry, but
physical.
okay. Well, no, no. The consensus with scientists is what you're saying. They're saying it's all physical. Science science starts with the incorrect assumption that everything is all physical. So a scientist will say that everything's physical.
No one starts with that
That
assumption.
that the universe is physical in the way that you're talking about it. Yes, they do.
No,
That
that's
the
not
it's
an
actually
assumption.
called natural science
No,
because they
no.
have a
So wait, wait, wait,
naturalistic
wait, wait.
understanding.
So that's completely false. That's a straw man
Okay.
that theists always use. Like no one assumes that the universe is just physical and that's it. That's a conclusion based off of all of the evidence. So that's not an assumption. We never started with the assumption that the universe was physical. In fact, everyone started with the opposite assumption that there was supernatural minds and stuff. Everyone believed in spirits and ghosts and things, and we came to the conclusion that those didn't exist, and so we filtered out the non-physical stuff over time. We don't start with the assumption that it was physical.
Okay. So let's I guess let's define some words here. I don't believe in the supernatural. I don't believe in anything supernatural. Everything that I'm talking about, God, everything is natural.
Okay,
Okay, and it's
so
happening
so just
in the natural world.
yeah, just to clarify. So again, by supernatural, all I mean is by non-physical mind. That's it. That's all I mean.
Okay,
So
so is
so
gravity non-physical?
it is physical. Gravity is the physical curvature of space-time.
Okay, so everything in existence is physical.
Okay.
Oh no,
So
I'm asking you the question. In your worldview, everything that is in existence is physical.
yeah, I think so.
Okay, well then God is physical by your definition. If you mean everything in reality is physical, then okay, everything's physical.
Oh
We'll
no.
go
So,
by your
okay.
definitions
So
for your
by
worldview.
physical, what I mean is particles, matter, and energy in motion. Nothing more.
Energy and motion. Okay, so what is I don't I guess so what is consciousness? Consciousness is a physical object.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So God is also a physical object. Right, is what I'm
Uh,
saying. Like by your definition, all you're saying is that everything in existence is physical. So if everything's in existence is physical by your definition, then God is also physical.
well, I'm being more specific. I'm saying everything in the universe is described by the forces in physics. So it's like if God is a part of the equation of general and special relativity, sure, but I don't think you would say that. So I'd say that everything in the universe is made of quantum fields.
Okay, but that's another like again. I talked to a physicist just the other day on this. We're going to have a discussion, and no, things that happen in the universe, not everything could be described by physics. That's factually incorrect. Physics cannot describe everything that's going on in the universe. For example,
That's
physics can't describe how life comes into existence. Physics can't describe a mother's love for a child.
so both of those things we can describe with physics. Love
No,
is
we
literally a thing in the brain that we can measure and stop and interact with. The origin of life is literally the consensus in every single origin of life field is that it's all physical, abiogenesis. There is no alternative hypothesis accepted in the field. So those are definitely physical things that we can describe with physics.
I'm sorry. We both agree that everything that in existence is physical. I'm using your definition. Physics is mathematics. Mathematics cannot describe a mother's love for someone. Mathematics cannot describe the existence of mathematics. Mathematics can't describe its own existence.
Yes, it can. So
Okay.
it's an idea in the brain. It is a concept in our brain.
Okay. Ideas in the brain are not mathematical. Okay. That things exist cannot be described by math. Things exist, and we use math to describe what already exists. Math can't describe the fact that math exists. Okay,
Math
that would be
doesn't
incorrect.
exist.
I'm
Math
sorry.
is a concept in the brain, which is a relation between different ideas. So it's just neurons, as a pattern of neurons, and the pattern of neurons is literally physical. So math as a process in a computer is exactly the same as the math in the process in your brain. So we can literally, that is described by physics. So
I'm sorry. So
computers
you're
do
saying that
math.
concept, by your worldview, concepts don't exist.
Concepts are a physical thing in the brain. It's literally just electrical stuff in your brain and nothing more.
Okay, so math is a physical thing.
Yep. Well, the concept of math is a physical thing. The literal idea of doing math is a physical thing, and the
Okay,
concept, the abstract concept, is just a label we apply to any of those individual physical processes.
awesome, awesome. So math is a language that we use to describe certain parts of the universe. What I am factually saying is that math cannot describe all of the universe. It could describe a lot of the universe, but not all of it. So physics cannot describe all of the universe.
I don't know of
Okay,
anything it
that
can't describe. So it can describe love because love is
uh,
a physical process in the brain. It can
okay,
describe
no,
the
no,
origin of life because that's a physical process
okay. Well,
in
I
Earth.
think then you have a misconception of what physics is. Physics doesn't describe everything physical. Okay, that's just not true. Like physics cannot describe biology. Like
Literally
so
does.
what?
So biology
Okay,
is
no, no, no.
literally physics.
It literally does not because there are two different fields of subjects. If physics described everything, then there'll be no other subjects. The fact that there's other
No,
subjects is because we need other ways to describe things other than physics. If
no.
physics described
So
everything, there would only be one subject, and that one subject would be physics. So that's factually incorrect. Okay, we
no,
have
so
subjects
that's
because physics.
incorrect. That's wrong. So that's wrong. The fact that we have different fields who focus on different collections of physics, it's still a part of physics. So physics is chemistry is a combination of physics, and biology is a combination of chemistry. It's still all physics.
Just because it's physical doesn't mean it's physics.
It's literally
Physics.
described. Like all of the interactions in biology are described by physics. Like
No, 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 no.
it's
Okay,
there's
okay,
four forces. There's the strong force, the weak
okay.
electromagnetic force, gravity, and those four forces describe everything in biology.
So when mechanical devices come together called life, the machinery of life come together, the meaning in DNA come together, physical mathematics cannot describe that
It literally does.
that process.
We literally have done that. That has
No,
literally happened.
no, no. We scientists have no idea how life comes together. So
Actually, no,
physics
no,
does.
no. So wait. So we know we know lots of different ways it could have occurred. We don't know
No,
which
no.
particular way it occurred. So we know all of the math has described. We can literally define how it occurs
Okay,
with
you're using
math.
kind of trickery. You're using a little bit of trickery. Oh, I just want to slow down a little bit. I think we're going a little bit fast, and I just want to hit every point step by step and very, very clearly, if you don't mind. But I just said that math, that we do not know. When I say we, scientists do not know how life began. That is a fact. You're saying that they could throw out suggestions of what might have happened. No, they can't. Not with the conditions that they think life would have come about in. And
Uh,
certainly mathematics cannot describe everything. Mathematics cannot describe, again, math itself. Okay, math can't describe its own existence. Math can't
Math doesn't
describe truth.
exist. So again, the
I'm sorry,
first thing is that
you just
we
said
don't
math does
know. Wait,
exist.
wait, wait. We don't know the particular way in which life formed on Earth. That is true. Do we know
Yeah.
all of the different interactions that can happen between chemicals that can lead to life? Yes. Do we know the order that they happened in the past? No. All of that can be described by physics. So we do know how life evolved. There's a great paper called the Research in the Origins of Life that just goes through all the different progress we've made and how that we have described these things. The problem in abiogenesis is not that we can't figure out how it happened. It's that we don't know which of the billions of ways that we already know it could have happened, which one it took. So it's like, which of these thousands of doors that we've all discovered is the one that it took? We have no idea, but we know all of the doors. So we
Okay,
have solved origin of life is not an issue. It's all abiogenesis. It's pretty much a solved thing in biology.
that is
But the existence of math, like math, is just a process in the brain. That's it. We can describe that with math too.
okay.
Physics.
No, okay, but it does exist and is a physical thing. Math is a physical because everything in existence is a physical thing according to Tom.
Math doesn't exist. Math is an abstract concept. It doesn't exist.
Okay, earlier you said it does exist.
Particular instances of doing math, like in our head, like I can imagine mathematical concepts, that exists. The literal physical process in the brain exists. And then I label that process as this abstract concept of math. Now, the abstract concepts do not exist anywhere. They don't exist at all. That's what an abstract concept means. It is simply a label we apply to a specific thing in the universe that is a category. So, like the category of apples doesn't exist. There's no category of apples anywhere in the universe. But we have an apple. And we say this is an apple.
Okay, but you just contradicted yourself because you said that abstract concepts don't exist. But earlier you said if I imagine an abstract concept, I'll be able to physically take it out of my brain and put it into someone else's brain. So they must physically exist if I'm able to physically pull them out of my brain and put it in other people's brains. Then abstract concepts are physical things that I could physically move out of my brain, correct?
No. Remember, so like the abstract concept of apples, the category of apples doesn't exist. Now I can say here is an apple, and this apple is one of the apple things, but I can't take the category of apples and move it. I can take an apple and move it. So math as a concept is like the category of apples. So obviously I can't take math or the category of apples and move the category somewhere. Like it can't happen. I can take an instance that we label this category, like a mental state or an apple, a single physical apple, and move that. But the abstract concept, which is all apples, I can't take the concept of all apples and just move that. Like that doesn't exist.
Okay, yeah, but then you just contradicted yourself because I could imagine an abstract concept of apples or abstract category of apples. I could imagine that. And you just said that anything I could imagine, I could physically move out of my brain because it's a physical object. So you just said two contradictory things.
No. So we can take your physical concept of apples in your head and move it, yes, but that doesn't mean that literally
exists.
The physical
if you could
concept.
physically take it out of my brain and move it, it physically exists. The abstract concept physically exists. So you could take it out of my brain and move it, right?
No. So the abstract concept means never the thing you're imagining, because you can't imagine literally every single apple, or you can't imagine a category of all possible things. You can just give a visual, like a generalization in your brain. So the abstract concept doesn't mean what you're imagining. You can never imagine the abstract concept in its entirety, because it's just it's a label that applies to a bunch of things that you don't know about. So
okay, I could imagine the abstract concept of math. I could 1 + 1 = 2. I can imagine that.
Sure.
I can take that physical thing out of my brain, 1 + 1 = 2, and physically move it.
Sure.
That means math physically exists.
No,
because if it physically exists in my mind, you just said that anything that physically exists in my mind is a physical object that I can move out of my mind. I could imagine 1 + 1. I'm imagining it right now. I could take 1 + 1 = 2 and physically move it in the physical world, which means that math equation exists physically in the real world. So math does exist according to Tom.
No, your brain doing math exists. That's like saying that English exists. Now I can take, like, if you imagine an English word, or I can put an English word on a computer screen and I can move the English word, but English doesn't exist anywhere. Like if I take a English word on a computer screen and move it to a different screen, the English doesn't exist anywhere in the universe. It's a representation which we've applied artificial meaning to. Now, the artificial meaning is a part of our brain, but the English itself doesn't exist anywhere. There's no English anywhere in the universe.
Okay, I could imagine that English representation. You just said English is a representation. I could imagine that representation in my mind. Yes. That's how I understand the words that you're saying, because I'm understanding them as English. Yep. And that means I can physically move them because I can imagine them.
That doesn't mean English exists. So there's a difference between your imagination, which is a particular, and the abstract concept of English, which is a universal. Those are two different things. Moving the particular doesn't mean you're moving the universal. Different things.
Okay, so there are physical things that don't exist in Tom's world.
No. Abstract concepts don't exist. It's a label that we apply to things. We make it up.
I'm sorry, would you mind repeating that?
Abstract concepts don't exist. It is a made-up label that we apply to things. Abstract universals do not exist. We make it up and apply it to things.
Okay, so abstract concepts don't exist, but if I imagine Disney World in my mind, Disney World is a physical thing in my mind that I could physically move around.
Yeah, that's not what abstract concepts mean. So you're misunderstanding a physical concept in your brain. You're not understanding. So I'm going to apply a label and say all men over 6 feet tall are blurbs. Do blurbs exist? No. Or does the blurbs exist? Does the concept of blurbs exist? Yes. Does the category of blurbs exist? No. It's made up. It doesn't. There's nowhere in the universe you can find this other than just some made up concept in a brain. So the concept of blurb is not some independent thing that exists. It's just a concept in the brain. So it's like if I write the word tree on a computer screen, does the word exist? No. It is simply a bunch of electrons on the screen. There are a bunch of electrons on the screen that shape into the word tree, but the concept, the tree itself, doesn't exist. It's just a bunch of representations on a screen. So you're confusing the abstract concept as existing as an independent thing, which it does not, and the representation of the abstract object, which is an idea, which is a thing. So these are two different categories: universal abstracts and just concepts. So saying the concept exists does not mean the universal abstract exists. Those are two separate things.
Okay, so I just want to make it clear. I'm not misunderstanding anything. I'm just getting into your worldview. This is all just stuff that you believe. This
no. That's why I keep saying you're misunderstering. You're not representing my worldview at all. You're just not understanding basic terms in philosophy.
I'm asking about your worldview. This is all about your. We're still asking questions.
Yes, and I'm telling you don't understand the difference between abstract and concrete, and you should Google the terms because in my worldview.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I'm just trying to figure out what Tom is saying, what your worldview is.
Yeah,
and your worldview is.
So this is just basic philosophy. This isn't just my worldview. This is any worldview. Abstract and concrete are different, and what you're saying is completely gibberish. Like, no, saying that an idea in the mind is physical, I agree, and you can move it, does not mean the abstract concept to which the idea refers is also physical. Those are different things.
Okay. First of all, just because some philosophers believe something doesn't make it fact.
Philosophy, it's just the definition of abstract and concrete. Okay, like every philosopher agrees on this. Every theistic philosopher agrees on this. Everyone agrees on this. The definition of the words.
I understand there's a difference between abstract and real. I understand there's a difference between it. But the way you're using it, in your worldview, saying that everything that goes on in the mind is physical, what I'm trying to get at is if your worldview, if Tom's worldview is consistent. So right now we're still on the subject of how Tom sees
this has nothing to do with my worldview. You're just confusing the terms. This literally every philosopher understands the difference between abstract and concrete.
So
what you're doing is just misrepresenting the words in philosophy. It's not how it works. It has nothing to do with my worldview. This is just Google the definitions of abstract and concrete.
No problem. Okay, so I think what's happening here is that we don't know what we're talking about right now. I think we're just talking, but we don't know what we're talking about. Okay, so let's just make it clear what are we talking about right now? What is the goal right now? In the beginning, you said that anything that goes on inside of the mind, all of my imaginations, everything is a physical, real thing.
Yes.
Okay. So with that in mind, abstract concepts are also something that I could imagine. I could imagine abstract concepts, which makes those physical, real things in the brain according to your worldview.
No. So again, you just don't understand the topic.
Where am I wrong?
We need to
where
move
am I going
on.
wrong about your worldview?
You don't understand how abstract objects work. So there is a label. Wait, stop. There is a label called an abstract universal, which applies to every single individual instance. You imagining an apple isn't an apple, right? Like your imagination of an apple, there isn't an apple in your head anywhere. It's a literal.
That's what I said about imagination. It's not a physical thing in my mind.
No, it's a physical thing. Stop. Your imagination is a physical thing. It's not a physical apple. You have an idea, a bunch of neurons.
I can move that apple out of my mind.
Wait, stop. So you have a physical idea in your head, which is an apple, and that image of an apple isn't literally an apple. There is not literally an apple with seeds in your brain anywhere. It's just a bunch of electrical signals. Electrical signals, not apple. Two separate physical things. There are two separate physical things. So you have an idea, a concept, which is of an abstract object. That's a physical thing. The abstract object doesn't exist in your brain, just like the apple. There's no literal apple in your brain. There's an electrical signal. This is very simple. What I was saying.
Okay, so I agree.
This is not what you were saying. You were completely wrong.
Yes, I said if I have Disney World in my mind or an apple in my mind, it's not a real apple.
No, it is a obviously it's not the Disney World. It is a physical thing, though. It is still a physical thing.
But it's a physical Disney World.
It is a physical idea in your head. It is not the Disney World.
So there's no physical Disney World in my mind. Just like there's no physical apple in my mind.
There's a physical idea which is a representation of Disney World.
Okay, yes. It has. Okay, so I think now we're getting somewhere. There's no physical Disney World. There's no physical Apple in my mind. That's what I was trying to say in the
Yes,
beginning.
there's no literal apple. There's no literal
So
apple in your head.
in the beginning, what I was saying was that you can't physically take the apple out of my mind and put it into someone else's mind.
Yeah, we can take the representation out of your mind, which is literally a physical thing, and put it into another mind.
Because consciousness, something that is separate from a physical thing, is making these imaginations.
No, that's dumb. That's just incredibly dumb. We can take a picture off of another screen and put it onto another screen without ever taking a real apple off of the screen. So if there's a picture of an apple on a screen, I can take the picture, move it to another image without ever moving a real apple.
Okay, you have a very inconsistent worldview.
No, what you're saying is dumb. What was it? What was it? Name what was inconsistent about what I just said. There is a picture of an apple on a screen. I took the picture off. I moved it to a different screen. There was no physical apple involved. Where's the problem?
Listen. Let's just clear this up and maybe
answer the question. I took a physical picture of an apple off one TV screen, moved it to a different TV screen. Was there a real apple anywhere in this situation?
I just want to make something clear again. I am asking questions about Tom's
I don't care. Answer the question.
Anything.
You said it's inconsistent. You need to support what you just said. Answer the question. I move a picture of an apple from one screen to a picture of an apple to another screen. Was there any apple?
What I'm saying is like I have a physical apple in my mind.
No. Answer my question. No, you're not going to evade this. You said what my worldview is inconsistent. Name the inconsistency. There is a picture of an apple on a screen. Wait. There's a picture of an apple on a screen. I moved the picture from one screen to another screen. There is no physical apple here. It's a picture of an apple. I moved the picture. The picture is physical. No apple. Where's the inconsistency?
Okay, but what I'm saying is but there's a physical.
I don't care what you're saying. Answer the question. Where is the inconsistency in what I just said? Name the logical inconsistency in what I just said.
Okay.
If you can't, then just admit you can't. Admit you're wrong. And we move on. But you have. If you're going to claim I have an inconsistency, you have to answer the question.
I am the inconsistency. You're saying you're moving a picture of an apple to one place to another, and that picture of an apple is not an apple.
Yes.
Correct. Yes. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying. I'm moving a picture of an apple from one place to another place.
So that's exactly what I'm saying about the brain. So in the brain, you have a picture of an apple. You have an image. I'm moving the image from one brain to another. There's no apple.
Okay, Tom. I'm just trying to figure out what you're saying. Okay, please. I'm just trying to figure it out. Okay.
Sorry. So abstract objects work the same thing. Abstract concepts. The universal is like a literal apple. An abstract thing is like an actual apple existing in your brain. There's no actual apple in your brain. You have a representation, and we're making the representation. So the abstract concept doesn't exist. The abstract label of math doesn't exist. You have a particular instance of an image, a representation of that abstract. And that representation, we are moving from one place to another. The abstract universal does not exist in your mind ever.
Okay, so you're saying that I just want to make this clear. Again, I'm trying to figure out what you're saying here. Okay, I imagine a physical apple in my mind. Okay, what is being pulled out of my mind? What physical? You're saying that apple that exists in my mind is a physical object.
Yes.
The apple is a physical object that I imagine. Anything I imagine right now becomes physical.
Yep.
So I could bring physical things into existence.
No, you're
right now. If I imagine a donkey,
things.
I just brought a donkey into existence.
You're rearranging already existing physical things. So do you understand the difference? So there's no literal apple in your brain, but you have a representation in your brain, right?
But that representation is physical.
Yes, so you're with me on that. So there's no physical math. Math, the thing, does not exist in your brain. There is a representation of math. Just like there's no physical apple in your brain, there's a representation of an apple, right?
Okay, so is there math out in the real world? No. There's just this. So the only thing that exists is a representation of math.
Yes.
That's the only thing that exists.
Yes.
Okay, so math as a representation does exist.
Yes.
And that's the only math that matters. So why are we even talking about anything else?
Because you keep saying that abstract objects exist, and they don't.
Okay. No. I didn't say that, Tom. Let's just
literally said that.
No, okay. Oh, I'm telling you that I'm not. Let's not misrepresent each other. Let's just take it slow. Let's be friends here. Let's be friends.
You literally said that in your worldview, abstract objects exist.
Okay, yes.
No,
listen,
they don't.
Okay, we don't have to attack one another. We could try to come to the truth. Okay, I'm not your enemy. Okay, we're both. Let's just both trust each other to try to find the truth. Okay, I'm not trying to attack you at all. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here and what you're saying, because what you're saying is very, very different, a very, very different worldview than I've heard before. So I'm really trying to figure out what you are saying, because I've never heard someone say that an idea is a physical thing you could take out of someone's mind before. I've never heard something like that before, or like this. So okay, so if music plays in my mind, if I'm playing music in my mind, like a song is playing in my mind, okay, what is that? Is that music a physical thing?
Yes.
Okay, Okay, and someone else, well, you can't open my mind and hear the music I'm playing in
Right.
my mind.
We would
I'm
have
hearing
to,
it.
right,
I'm
what
hearing it, but you
happens
cannot hear
is
it.
the neurons in your brain, we'd have to actually put them in a different brain. Or we could actually connect a connector to your brain and then hear it. Yes, we could do that.
And hear the actual music coming. Okay,
Yep.
um, I guess I'm gonna have to like see the evidence of this, like
It's
that what
really
you're
simple.
saying.
It's called neurons in your auditory system are fired exactly the same as you're hearing music, as if you're imagining music. So all your imagination is doing is firing the exact same neurons that occur when you hear the music.
Okay, awesome. So the electrons are going on in my brain. Those are physical things, and the imagination you just said, and what I'm imagining you just said.
Yep.
So my imaginations of those electrons are also physical things.
Yep.
Okay, imaginations. And what are imaginations made of?
Neurons, neurological signals in the brain.
Okay, but neurological signals in the brain are one thing, and then the imagination is something different.
Nope, they are the same.
Okay?
They are literally the same.
Okay. Okay. So then there would be so the when I go into my mind, I'm not seeing neurons. I'm seeing images. I'm hearing music,
Right.
and I could create anything I want to create going on in my mind. There's a not neurological signals.
That's like saying Microsoft Windows is not ones and zeros. Yes, it is.
Wait, no, no, no. Listen, there are two things going on. There's a physical thing going on, and there's a non-physical thing going on. So, for example, gravity is not a physical thing. Gravity moves physical things. It's a force that moves physical things, but it's not a physical object. Gravity is not a physical object.
Gravity is a physical object. Gravity is the curvature of space-time. But so saying that your image in your mind isn't physical is like saying Windows isn't physical. Microsoft Windows.
Okay.
Microsoft
Okay.
Windows is physical. It's a bunch of ones and zeros. Saying that
What?
the ones and zeros and Windows are different is ridiculous. It's literally made of ones and zeros. There's a process that it uses with these ones and zeros to create the thing you call an image with the neurological features of the brain. Those are the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. The thing that my consciousness like sees and creates images out of because
I
my
want to
consciousness, again, is not-
move on. I've hashed this over enough. If you don't believe me,
Okay.
publish something in physics, because no one cares. No one cares that you think that it's not physical. So it is physical.
Yeah.
That's the consensus. If you don't, you can disagree. But just, you got anything else?
Okay. Well. The majority of the planet Earth agrees that the consciousness is not a physical thing.
No one
That the
thinks
spirit
that.
is not a physical thing.
Idealism is a single percentage. Single percentage in any academic field. No one accepts that.
And like 50% of scientists or something like that do believe in God and stuff like that. So there's not some consensus that you mean that all scientists are naturalists, or that this huge consensus. Most Nobel Prize winners in science and physics and stuff like that are religious people, or Jewish, or Christian. Or,
so if we look
and
at the
religious.
actual
So please,
academic data,
don't misrepresent what's going on.
So most Nobel Prizes were won long time ago. So obviously they were religious.
It doesn't matter.
Most
It's not
scientists
what you're making
today
out to
are
be.
physicalists. Most philosophers are
But
atheists.
it's not what you're misrepresenting it to be.
No. So just pause for a minute. So most academics, the consensus in every field is physicalism. There's no evidence of any God thing. The fact that some scientists like to wishy-washy believe things with no evidence is fine. They don't have any evidence to support that. It's just their personal belief. All of the consensus of every single scientist in the world is, yeah, it's all physical. There ain't anything else. There's nothing to support anything else.
I just agree that
sorry. I'm using my language here. So there's no God thing. There's no God thing at all. There's no soul thing. There's no mind thing. No evidence to support any of that garbage. It's all just physical stuff.
That's
physics stuff.
That's again factually incorrect. God is just a title. So saying that gods don't exist is pretty stupid. God is just a title you can slap on anything. If I worship this pen is my God. So gods exist. That is a fact. Any like that saying gods don't exist is like saying presidents don't exist. So that in and of itself is another like kind of stupid claim that
by
that
God, I'm using the word
think,
as it's used in the dictionary of an entity that created the universe.
Go look in the dictionary, in Webster's dictionary. I could send you a link. And God just means anything held in high regard, anything or object.
Yeah, no, so I'm using the definition as in like Stanford Encyclopedia Dictionary.
Yeah, so
wait, stop. I don't care about your semantic games here. God means a creator of the universe. Creator of the universe, some ruler of the universe. They don't exist.
Okay.
There are no minds greater than human minds. Doesn't exist. No evidence of that.
Yeah, I know, but just because you keep on saying no evidence of that, like religiously, the way you're doing it, doesn't make it true.
So present evidence.
Okay, well, we have to know what the evidence is. What are we talking about here? We're talking about a consciousness. How do we know that a consciousness exists? Okay, what is the evidence for consciousness? And the evidence for consciousness is order. When we see order, we know that consciousness is causing it. Okay, that's how you know that I'm conscious, because my words are ordered. Because I could order my words, and that's how you know that I'm conscious. Okay, so there is evidence for consciousness. The reason why people say that or the reason why we know that a consciousness is causing what's going on in the universe is because the universe is ordered. Okay, the thing that causes order is consciousness. Just like the thing that causes this pen to fall is gravity. Okay, the evidence for gravity is this pen falling. The evidence for consciousness is that there's order in the universe. Okay, that is how we know that a consciousness is causing it. That is the evidence for it. So you're factually incorrect with this. There is no evidence for God, because you haven't heard all the God claims and you haven't heard all the evidence for it. So we have to try to stay away
so
from
that's
this
false.
religious-
So let's go with that claim. So order equals mind. Well, that's false. Anything
Well,
was going
I
to
said
have a
order
pattern.
equals consciousness.
Wait. Yeah, I'm using consciousness and mind synonymously, so that wouldn't make a difference tomorrow. So the claim is that any order indicates consciousness. That's false. There's order in a tornado, no consciousness. There's order in a particle, no consciousness. There's order in a crystal, no consciousness.
You're just making that up.
What am I making up? There's
Okay, that's like me saying a pen falling is not evidence of gravity. Look, this fell, no gravity. Look,
no. So you claimed any order is evidence of consciousness. That's dumb.
Saying,
there can be order in lots of things that have no consciousness. There's no reason to think that order
you
equals
don't even know what I'm talking about. Listen, Tom. All you're doing, I'm saying that order is caused by consciousness, and all you're doing is saying, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's dumb. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You don't sound smarter just because you say no, it doesn't. No, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna listen. No, it doesn't. I'm saying that.
So all you did, you claimed that order was evidence of consciousness. That's not an argument. You just made an assertion, and I can prove there's lots of order with no consciousness.
The reason why you know I'm conscious is because there's order in my words. You know that I'm conscious, and there's evidence that I'm conscious.
Yes.
There's evidence that I'm conscious right now. And okay, so exactly. So we know that there's evidence for consciousness. The evidence for consciousness is the fact that, for example, all of my words are ordered. The fact that I'm placing all of my words in a certain order is what's allowing people to know that I'm conscious. If you were looking for survivors in a car wreck and you heard knocking, it sounded like an order, you would know that someone's conscious down there. Okay, so there's evidence for consciousness. And
wait. So the fact that we use certain patterns of order to indicate certain kinds of consciousness does not mean any kind of order equals consciousness. So that's a composition division fallacy.
Okay, there's a what? Listen, I'm telling you that is how we know consciousness. Something's causing order.
Yes, I agree.
What's causing order is what I'm calling consciousness.
You're right. So we identify consciousness with certain patterns. That does not mean that any pattern is conscious.
Okay, I'm saying all patterns come from consciousness.
So that doesn't follow. So some patterns indicate consciousness. That's true. I agree with you. That does not mean that any pattern equals consciousness.
Okay. What I'm saying is that something is causing all of the patterns. If you want to call it natural or quote unquote natural,
why do you think you need a consciousness to cause a pattern? There can be patterns in the sand, no consciousness.
The pattern of the entire universe is set. Okay, so remember that. Okay, so just for
why do you think that requires a mind?
The universe means everything. The word universe means everything. Okay, so what we're saying is that everything, as we see it, is ordered. Okay, so the lines in the sand, all that stuff like that is ordered. Everything is caused by this God. Okay.
So why do you think that needs a consciousness?
This thing that I'm calling God. I'm sorry.
Why do you think that needs a consciousness? Because why do you think that? Like, let me ask you this way. So imagine there was no consciousness. What would the universe look like?
It wouldn't exist the way it does right now. It wouldn't be ordered.
What would it look like? What would it look like? Just random chaos everywhere?
No. It wouldn't be anything. There would be nothing together.
So that's begging the question. You're saying you cannot imagine anything existing without a mind, therefore mind. That's not an argument. That's begging the question.
Tom, that's just as silly as saying, well, what would all species look like without evolution? Well, just tell me how all species would have gotten here without evolution. Evolution is the cause of all these species.
Yeah, that would also be begging the question.
The species wouldn't be here without evolution.
Right,
all these species wouldn't be here without evolution. So asking the silly question, well, just tell me how the species got here without using it. What would all the species look like without evolution? That is just as ridiculous as what you're saying right now. Well, tell me how things will look like without consciousness. Consciousness is the cause of it, just like evolution is a cause of diversity of species. So there would be no, if there was no evolution, there'd be no diversity of species.
So just like again, if there was no consciousness, what I'm asking for here is, why do you think consciousness is the cause of it? You just keep saying consciousness is the cause of it. No, evolution is the cause of the diversity of species. We know that through lots of evidence. And so obviously we wouldn't have the diversity of species if evolution didn't exist. So we need just as good evidence that consciousness causes all patterns. Why
Great,
couldn't we
great.
have patterns with just physical laws, no consciousness? Why is that
Okay,
a problem?
because the physical laws are ordered there, Tom.
Yeah, why
Physical
is that a
laws are
problem?
ordered.
Why is that a
Okay,
problem?
because consciousness is what causes the physical laws.
Okay,
Okay,
okay. So
that
I'm not following, not following. So
okay.
what is the problem with physical laws existing and being ordered and no consciousness? Why is that a problem?
Okay, that's like asking why is the diversity out there? Okay, that's like asking why could the pen drop without gravity? What's the problem with that? What's the problem with the pen dropping without gravity?
Well, so
What's the problem with that?
the problem with the pin dropping without gravity is that we have
Uh-huh.
empirical demonstrations that gravity exists and is the
Yeah,
curvature of
Tom.
space-time and causes the
Awesome.
falling. So
Awesome. Just
so we have no physical demonstrations that a mind is required to create the
okay.
laws of physics. That we don't have
Okay.
that. We don't have
Okay.
that.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And we have empirical evidence that a consciousness is causing it. The order is the empirical evidence. Just like the pen dropping is empirical evidence, the order is empirical evidence. The order of things is the empirical evidence. That there are patterns, that there is order is the empirical evidence.
Okay,
Just
okay.
like the
So
pen dropping
let me try
is
this.
empirical evidence for
Try this.
gravity.
The grass outside is wet. Is that evidence that it rained outside?
No, it could have come from another source.
Bingo. So yes, the universe is ordered. Is that evidence of mind? No, because it could have come from
Yes.
another source.
Okay, no, no, no. Listen, Tom, no, no. A woman's either pregnant or she's not pregnant. There's no other options. Okay. So what I'm saying is like something causes order in the universe.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
wait. So
Let's okay. So what I'm saying is like
you understood the grass analogy, right? So you're right.
okay, yes.
The
But you
fact that
understand the
the
woman's
grass is
pregnant
wet
analogy.
could be explained by something other than the rain. It could have come from a sprinkler. So
Oh,
now, wait. So order could also be explained by something that's not a mind. Order can come about by things that are non-minds just fine. So if we can have
now you're
order
stating
without a
fact. Prove
mind,
that. Prove it. Prove that statement.
uh,
Order
s-
comes about with things not mind.
uh,
Prove it.
s-
What's the empirical
rocks,
evidence for that?
crystals, sand, tornadoes.
The grass is wet, so it rained. That's what you're saying right now. You're doing the same dumb shit you're accusing me of right now.
No, no,
You're
no,
saying, oh,
no,
sand, rain.
no, no,
Oh,
no.
just because there's sand, it came about without a physical mind. You're doing the same stupid shit.
No, so we
Like
see
you're
lots
accusing
of
me of.
wait.
You
So
see,
we
when I
don't
say
have any
when I say
evidence of a
when I
god
say a
yet.
mind caused it, you're saying
Wait.
I need proof. When you're saying a mind doesn't cause it, you don't need any proof. Okay, you're just doing the same dumb shit, and you're saying like, look, there's not a mind, but I don't need to prove that it's not a mind. But
Wait.
if I say a mind caused it, I need to prove it.
Stop. So we can watch crystals grow. We can literally watch them grow, and we
Yes,
know they're
by the
not
ordered
caused.
universe.
Yeah,
By
they're
the
not
ordered
caused by a
universe, that's
mind.
caused by consciousness.
So wait. So we let's in science, you can't start with your conclusion. You can't just say, "Here is my conclusion. It answers everything."
I'm not. The
So,
empirical
so you
evidence
can't.
is the
You
order.
can't. Wait. So you don't get to say mind yet. Mind not an option. We observe things. We observe crystals. We observe people doing speaking. Crystals have no mind, as far as we can tell. People have minds. There is order, no mind. There is order with mind. So now you want to
No,
say that
no, there's not. You just said there's order without mind.
yeah,
Prove it. Prove
crystals.
it.
So again, you don't get no
That's like
God.
saying
You
the
don't
wet
get to say
grass.
God here. You don't
You're
get to
just
say
saying
God
wet
here.
grass. You're just saying wet grass. By saying
Wait,
crystals, you're saying wet grass.
Stop. So basic science, basic logic here. You
Okay,
can't
don't
assume
use
your
this
conclusion.
authority.
Wait,
Don't use
stop.
authority.
Let me finish or I'm going to mute you. So you cannot start with your conclusion. You start with the
I'm not starting
observations.
with the conclusion. I was an
Don't
atheist.
stop speaking or I'm going to mute you. Just listen. Just listen to the argument and then respond. We want to look at the world. We don't know what caused the world. Maybe it's a God. That's a possibility. Maybe it's not a God. Also a possibility. We don't know. And so right now when we're looking at the world, we see crystals, they're forming, they have no mind. There's no mind in a crystal. There's no mind in the ground that creates the crystal. We see people, they have a mind. Now we want to know what created the universe, essentially. Is it more like the crystal with no mind in it? There's no mind in the crystal anywhere. It's just a bunch of physical forces. There is a mind in the person, and we want to know, well, what caused the orderliness that can create both of these things? You cannot say it's a mind, because right now the only evidence we have is, well, there's mind in this place, there's no mind in that place, both have order, and we're trying to infer backwards which one of these is more like the universe. Both are possible. Maybe it's just like the crystal and there's a physical set of laws that have no mind in whatsoever. It's just a bunch of physical forms. Maybe there's a mind there. That's a possibility too, but you can't just say, oh, order therefore mind, because there's clearly two possibilities there. We have two examples of order. One comes about with mind, one comes with no mind, and you just are inferring one of the options goes all the way back. We can do that with the other option too.
Okay. So what you're doing right now is you're just saying that the crystal has no mind. that no mind caused that crystal to happen.
No,
And you're not proving.
do you think the crystal itself has a mind in
Okay,
it?
what I'm saying is like, no, the crystal
Okay,
itself does
that's
not have
that's
a
what I'm
mind.
saying. I'm saying the
Okay,
crystal
but a mind
itself
caused it.
doesn't have a mind
Okay,
in it.
okay, but the mind caused it. Okay, my hand right now doesn't have a mind, but a mind is causing it. You see the difference?
Okay,
That's happening. The fingers don't have a mind, but a mind is causing it. You see what I'm saying? So the crystal doesn't have
no, I
a
don't
mind,
see
but
what
a
you're
mind
saying.
caused it.
I don't see what
Okay,
you're so why do you think order equals mind, right? You see
okay,
minds and you
right.
identify minds with order, correct?
Okay. So now we know that order happens. All I'm doing is saying that the thing that causes order is called a mind. It's called consciousness.
I understand
Okay.
what you're
The
doing.
thing,
I'm asking
the,
why are
the,
you doing it? So we see minds, we identify minds with order. Yes. What do
Mhm.
we identify crystals with?
as a thing that's a part of that order. So my fingers are part of the order. Okay. My mind is causing my fingers to move about in an orderly fashion right now. My consciousness is causing this orderly fashion to happen.
I don't
The
care about your
fingers
hands. How do we
themselves.
identify a crystal? How do we tell the difference between a crystal and a person?
Well, because a crystal has different physical properties than a person. That's different between a
Woo!
person and a
Yeah.
God.
Well, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
want to know.
But a mind
Wait.
caused
So
the
I
whole
want to know
thing.
which caused the universe, a crystal or a person?
I'm sorry. A consciousness is what's causing me to do what I'm doing right now.
I
A
don't care. I
consciousness
don't
is
care.
what's caused.
So there's two different things. There's a crystal there. There's a person there. These are two separate things, and I want to know which created the universe. Was it a
Okay,
crystal or was it
okay.
a person? How do you
I'm sorry.
tell?
No. The person and the crystal were both created by a consciousness.
No.
The person
That's
and the
begging the
crystal.
question. Why do you think? Why should we
Okay.
think that the person and the crystal were created by a person rather than the person and the crystal being created by a crystal?
Okay. What I'm saying is you're that's an incorrect. The premise of the question is incorrect. It comes from a misunderstanding of what I'm saying. Please try to understand what I'm saying so you can ask legitimate questions. Okay. All of the order of the universe is caused by a consciousness.
That's
Okay.
begging the question. So
Something. No.
why?
Okay.
You need
Okay. Okay.
evidence.
Go. No. Okay. So we look out. So scientists look out into the universe and see that the universe is acting in this funny way, in this kind of like physical phenomenon way. So they say, listen, because the universe is acting this way, there must be some force out there. We're going to call that force dark energy or dark matter to describe this physical phenomenon we're seeing because something must be causing it. Okay. When
Sure.
we see things happen, in the universe, like order happening, something must be causing it.
Yes.
Okay. The thing that is causing it, I am calling consciousness. If you want to call it naturalism, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you could call it whatever the fuck.
Not
You call it
consciousness.
Suzanne if you want to
I
call
want to
it.
call it not consciousness.
Okay. Call it not consciousness. Then God is real and God is not consciousness. Okay. The word you're using, but God still not consciousness causes order. It causes life to exist. It causes all the things that we see. It causes all of the creation that we see. And people call that consciousness or that what you're calling not consciousness God. But there is a cause for all of this order. There is a cause for life coming together, and people
Wait,
call that cause God.
so are you just saying whatever the cause is, even no matter what its properties are you just going to call that God?
No. But we could tell its properties by looking at what it's causing. Okay, it has a property of causing love. It has a property of causing hate. It has a property of causing all the things we see in the universe.
Okay.
Okay,
So let's
some
go
people.
back a step. I'm saying that the origin of the universe is naturalistic pantheism, just nature and forces, no mind, no consciousness, no love, no intentionality, none of that garbage. It's just quantum fields, physical forces, nothing else. No sense of no ideas. It has no ideas. It has no thoughts. It has no intentionality. It has no feelings. None of that garbage.
But it created
That's
thoughts. It created
yes,
thoughts, and it created thinking
correct,
things. Us.
correct.
Okay, so the thing that causes thinking, and the thing that causes thoughts, and the thing that causes love is what people call God. Okay, something caused all this love. Something caused all this
So
thinking. Something caused life, and that cause is what people call God.
so you're calling
Okay.
neurons God? Like why?
No. I'm not calling neurons God. Neurons were created by that cause. The thing that
Nope.
caused the
The
order.
thing that created love was not the thing that created neurons. Neurons
Okay,
created
the
love.
thing that caused the order in the universe
Wait,
also
wait, wait,
caused
wait,
the
wait,
earth.
wait. So go back a step. So love doesn't exist as a fundamental force in the universe. Love is an emergent property. So love is like a heart. Hearts were created by different physical interactions, but there's no heart in the universe. The universe doesn't have a heart, right? Or God doesn't have a heart.
It doesn't have a physical heart. No,
Yeah,
it doesn't
correct.
have a physical heart.
So the thing that created what you're saying is it's incoherent to saying the thing that created a physical heart must have a physical heart. No, right? Like you would say that's wrong. You would say obviously whatever created a physical heart doesn't need to have a physical heart.
Yes.
So the same thing is true of love. Whatever created love doesn't need to have love in its mind.
Well, no, it doesn't. But it creates love and hate. It creates all experiences that happen.
But it doesn't
So
need to
what I'm
have
saying is
those
like
things. It doesn't need to have love. It doesn't need to think love.
have it. Like the way you're using the word have it, it's above all these things. You should say it causes all of these things. It is the cause of it.
Right. So I agree that the fundamental forces caused love to exist. I agree. But the fundamental forces don't have love. They don't have a mind. They don't have intentionality. They don't have thoughts. All of those things were created by the forces, just like hearts were created by the forces. But there isn't a physical heart, just like there isn't a concept of love in the physical forces.
Okay, so the only thing we know about this thing that caused the order in the universe is that it has an intentionality.
Wait, why?
Like,
so I'm saying it doesn't. I'm saying it does not have intentionality.
That is the one thing. Okay, and I think that's where we can go to. It has intent. Okay, when things become ordered, that is a sign of intent. Okay, now that thing doesn't have physical love. It creates all experiences. Okay, so love exists in the universe. Like these things exist in the universe. The thing causing it, the consciousness causing it, doesn't have it. It is above these things. So I've had this conversation before with like love and hate and whether God is a loving God, or whether God is a good God. God is none of those things. God is above all of these things. God causes all of these things. Just like God causes all of the matter to happen the way it does.
Does God have a consciousness?
God is a consciousness.
Yeah.
What you're calling not conscious. What we're saying.
I'm not calling it. I'm saying there is no consciousness in the fundamental forces. There is no thoughts. There are no ideas. There are no feelings. There is no intentionality.
Yeah. Just like in my fingers, there's none. Yeah. There's no thought in my fingers, but they're being controlled by a consciousness.
No,
but they themselves are not conscious.
I'm saying the universe is more like your microphone and not like you. There's no intentionality in your microphone.
Yes, exactly. But it's being caused by a consciousness. A consciousness caused it. We could tell by the order of the microphone. We can tell by the order of the
fine. I'm saying it's like the air molecules. No mind caused the air molecules. They just existed. They've existed forever. No cause.
Just like something caused the order to happen in the universe the way it did.
Nothing caused the order. It's eternal. It's an uncaused order.
That is incorrect. Like in the Big Bang, when you go all the way down to the Big Bang, all the fundamental laws break down.
No, they just can't be described by physics. So there's order prior to the Big Bang. Prior to the Big Bang, there's still order, and it was eternal. Eternal order.
Okay. The order that we're seeing came into being. Okay, this is we're getting into a tricky subject because yes, you're right. The entire universe always existed. Everything in existence always existed. This conversation always existed,
and it always had an order. There was always an order there.
Oh, yes. There is a fundamental truth to that. Yes, what we're talking about is reality, the way we're seeing it. So we do agree. This conversation that we're having right now always existed. Everything in the universe always existed. That is correct.
All right. So there is a particular order that exists now, and there was a different order that existed before.
Exactly.
And order was always there. There was never not order.
So just like this conversation always existed. Everything that's in existence has always existed. The entire universe always existed. That is correct. But in the same way this conversation always existed, I am still creating. You and I, Tom and Justin, are right now creating a conversation.
So you agree that there was an order before the Big Bang?
I agree that order and everything that's in existence always existed. Okay, that is at a separate depth. Okay, I describe how the entire universe works in one of my videos. Okay, that is at a different depth. That is not what we are experiencing. So what we are experiencing is that things haven't existed and they come into being. That's what we do experience.
I don't care. So I'm on order here. So you said order is evidence of consciousness. I'm saying order never not existed. So order isn't evidence of consciousness. Order is fundamental. Order is before consciousness.
Okay. So what you're saying is that I'm contradicting myself because I'm saying order is always there, and I'm also saying that consciousness created order. But how could consciousness create order if order was always there? Correct? You're saying so. I'm contradicting myself, correct?
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm saying saying order is before consciousness. Consciousness is not before order.
It's not before. They both always existed. Okay. Everything in existence always existed. There's not one before the other.
No, consciousness definitely came after order. So order was first, then consciousness.
It's the cause of order. It's why order is happening. Okay.
So I'm saying the opposite is true. Order is the cause of consciousness, not the other way around. Why do you think it's the other way around?
You have no evidence of that. Okay.
Well, I have tons of evidence of that.
No. You don't, Tom. Just because you think something doesn't make it science.
So consciousness only exists in brains, as far as we can see. Brains are only a result of order. So order existed before consciousness.
We don't. Okay. The reason why you know that consciousness is going on in the brain is because of evidence. You know that consciousness is going on in my brain because of the evidence, because of the order in which I'm speaking. You know that I'm conscious because of the order that you are seeing. You don't see my consciousness, you see the evidence for my consciousness. The evidence for my consciousness is the order in which I'm speaking to you, which leads you to believe that I'm conscious.
Sure.
Just like you see order in what I'm doing that leads you to believe this consciousness, we see order in the universe that leads us to believe that consciousness caused it.
No.
Okay. No. Yes. Yes. If you want to like.
That's a composition division fallacy. So we know for a fact that doesn't work. We know that literally cannot work because it's a composition division fallacy. Or so what you're saying is like the grass is wet, therefore it must have rained. Like
no,
how do we know if it rained? Well, we see if it's wet. If it's wet, then it rained, and therefore because it's wet, it must have rained.
Didn't say that.
No, order can predate consciousness. There's no logical contradiction with order coming first.
Okay, so now that again I didn't say any of that. So
I said that.
What I did say, no. What I did say is very, very simple. Not what you just strawman me is saying. Okay, what I said was we don't see Justin's consciousness. We see the evidence for Justin's confidence.
Right.
Of consciousness,
yes.
Which is the order in which he's communicating.
Yes.
That this order leads us to believe that there's consciousness.
Yes.
That this order in the universe lets us believe that there's consciousness.
No. So that's a composition division fallacy.
Before you disagree with me and then like wrongly accuse me of fallacies, just hold on 1 second and just try to understand me before you incorrectly interject. Okay? I'm using the same exact evidence you're using. You're using a certain type of evidence right now to know that I'm conscious. I'm using that same exact evidence to show that that consciousness caused the universe. The same exact evidence you're using is the same exact evidence I'm using. Okay.
Wait, the evidence I'm using is that I can see you and I'm speaking to you. How does the universe speak to me?
No. But you don't see my consciousness. You don't see my consciousness.
Right. I don't see your consciousness. I don't need to see your consciousness.
Into the universe, we don't see God.
You said we're using the same evidence here. Now the evidence I'm using is that I can see you speak. I can talk to you. I can give you information. You can give me information back. Where can I do this with the universe?
Okay, we could go look out into the universe and see that it's ordered.
I don't care if it's ordered. I'm not using order. I'm not using order. Order is not the evidence I'm using.
You are using order.
Wait, stop. I'm using a specific kind of order. Only one kind of order, which is an interaction where I give you information, you give me information back. That's the only order I'm using. Not any order. Not all. I don't use all order to identify consciousness. Awesome. I use a very specific kind of order. One kind and only one kind, which is when I give you information, you give me it back in a very specific kind of a way. So there's lots of order I don't use to identify consciousness. Like I can order. I can look at order on a crystal. I do not claim that's conscious ever. I use order to interact with a crystal. It is not conscious. I use order to interact with my computer. It's not conscious. I do not use any order to identify consciousness. I use a specific kind of order only, which has to do with speaking and communication. So unless I can communicate with the universe, then you're not using the same evidence I'm using. So unless you can tell me where I can communicate with this God thingy and it can speak to me back, you're not using the same evidence.
No. I mean, but my hand is communicating to you. I mean, by your my hand is communicating to you right now, Tom.
Sure.
That means my hand is conscious by your definition. My hand is communicating to you.
You're conscious.
No. Yeah, but my hand is communicating to you, Tom. That means my hand is conscious.
No, so you are communicating using your hand. No. You are communicating using your hand. So if God can communicate, if there's some medium I can use, Tom. Wait. So if there's some medium I can use to communicate with God, tell me where that is. I don't just want you to tell me to look at the order. I want you to tell me where I can interact with the order, get God to send me a message back. So I want to ask him like questions about the universe and he needs to give me an answer back. Like I can ask you a question, you give me an answer back. Tell me how I can do that with the universe or we're not using the same evidence.
Okay, yeah, no, you can't do that. But
so we're not using the same evidence. So what you said was wrong.
We are using we are using the same evidence. You're just creating this high standard. This crazy.
That's the evidence I'm using. That's the standard I need.
Okay,
that's the standard I'm using.
Tom, listen. If you went to the beach and saw a sandcastle, you would know that someone created it. Okay, and you wouldn't use all. You would know that a consciousness caused it.
That's because I've previously seen people do consciousness. That only applies. Wait. So that only applies to things we've seen built. So if I've seen another human being built it, then yeah, I can infer it was built by a mind.
Now you're making excuses. Now you're making excuses about how you don't have to communicate.
No, that's called induction.
Listen. No. You just saw a sandcastle. You saw humans build sandcastles, but you never seen humans build every single sandcastle get built by a human. You didn't see this sandcastle get built by a human, but you know that a consciousness caused it. Okay, you're making excuses
because of induction.
You're twisting and turning to only make yourself right. Okay?
No, this is just basic. This is basic freaking science. So stop,
no, no, no,
stop,
this
stop,
is basic.
stop, stop, stop. So stop and listen. We never ever say we see this organized pattern in nature, therefore it was caused by mind. We see lots of organized patterns in crystals, in rock structures. We never conclude it was caused by mind. There are certain kinds of things we conclude caused by mind. Every scientist, every single kind of scientist.
No, not every scientist, because a lot of scientists believe in God.
No one thinks that if we see pattern, it means mind. No one thinks that.
And most. No, they believe in God.
You're making the same mistake again. Composition division fallacy. This is very, very basic fallacy. No one thinks if we discover a sandcastle, it means mind. We discover all kinds of crazy patterns in nature. It does not mean mind. We discover crystal patterns. No mind. Yeah, scientists. You're saying all scientists. Every single one of them.
No, not every single one of them, Tom.
Every single one of them. Every single one of them thinks what you're saying is stupid. Every single scientist.
There are plenty of scientists that believe in God.
I don't care. That doesn't help your case. No one thinks that pattern equals mind. No one thinks that seeing a pattern in nature means mind. That's not a thing scientists think. Some scientists believe in God. No one thinks the stupid things you're saying.
Okay, are you finished?
Sure.
Okay. Now, most of planet Earth, most of human beings since the beginning of our species have believed that some consciousness or a group of consciousnesses is causing what's happening.
Yeah, most people are stupid. Scientists don't.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Now you're cutting off your guess. I did ask you if you were finished, and I just want to just complete this thought, if you don't mind. Now, so most people have, and a lot of scientists. I think, but according to Pew Research, about 51% of scientists are religious, so, which means that they believe.
I'm not talking about God here. I'm talking about order. Okay. Order does not equal consciousness. Yes. No one thinks order equals consciousness. Okay. That is false. I'm not talking about God here.
Okay. I just want to finish this one thought. If every single human since the beginning of our species has come to the conclusion that a God or gods consciousnesses are causing it, it's because they're seeing order and they're equating it with consciousnesses. So this idea, this silly, stupid idea that no consciousness is causing anything and it's just like coming together on its own without consciousness is some stupid shit that is recent atheist nonsense. Okay?
So we know for a fact humans...
Like flat earthers. Atheists are like flat earthers. You're a tiny minority.
So we know which fallacy that's. We know that's an anthropocentric fallacy where people think that if we hear a rustle in the bushes, we think it's a mind because it kills people. Wait, stop. So when we hear a rustle in the bushes, the people who thought it was a lion and ran away survived, and the people who thought it was the wind when it was a lion got eaten. And so we have this proclivity to think things like there are monsters under the bed, and that the darkness contains monsters, and that there's some person hiding in the bushes. We think that there are minds there when there are not. We've proven that that's a fallacy that minds use. So if that's your justification for why you think order equals mind, we know you're wrong.
No, it's not. That's not what I'm doing. What I am doing is saying when you use the word we, you're making it sound as though there's this huge consensus. What I'm saying is that you are wrong.
Yes, there is a huge consensus. You're wrong about this.
Within a small group called scientists, within a small group of people called scientists that have their own philosophy on science is a philosophy. Okay, so it's not the we in the way that you're trying to make it. So when I said that human beings since the beginning of our species have believed in some consciousness, what I'm trying to make it clear to the audience is that when Tom says we, it's not like all of planet Earth believes this. Right. Only a tiny minority. So people have equated order with consciousness. We always do this, and we're right about it. The order that I'm speaking is a sign of consciousness. If we saw a sandcastle in the sand, it would be a sign of consciousness.
So that's called an ad populum fallacy. We don't care what most people believe. Most people are stupid and wrong.
No.
What we care about
I'm not saying that because most people believe it, it's true. Okay, please understand what I'm saying.
You just said so. I said when I say we, I mean scientists, people who are not idiots, who are experts in the field. And you said, but most people believed in a God. Most people are idiots.
But 51% of scientists believe in God. 51%, and most
none of them think that order indicates mind. That's not a thing.
What I'm saying is they look out into the universe and they see this order and they know that a God did it.
No.
Okay? So what I'm saying is so 51% of scientists believe in God. Okay,
no, so you're confusing belief in God to belief in this argument you've made. These are not the same. Okay, no one thinks order equals God. That is not the thing. People believe in God for personal reasons. They don't think that seeing patterns in nature equals God, or that God is required to explain patterns. 51% of scientists do not believe that. No one believes that.
I'm calling it order. What they would call it is creation.
No. Okay. No, you're not. Again, this is wrong.
God
you are lying. You are
creation.
lying about scientists. Scientists do not think. Wait, stop. The 51% of scientists that you've mentioned do not think order is required or mind requires order. That is not
They're
the
calling
case.
it creation.
They do
They're
not.
calling
They
it
do not
creation.
think that. No one thinks that.
Okay.
Every one of those scientists, that 51% of scientists, agree there could be a fundamental force with no mind that could do all of this. They don't have a problem with admitting order does not mean consciousness. That's something you've made up.
No, it's not something I've made up. What they believe in God because they believe that a consciousness is causing this creation.
Yes, they believe that. They do not believe that only a mind could possibly do it. They do not believe
How do you
that.
know that? How do you know that?
Because I've talked to many of them. Like this
Because
is
you've
a
talked
thing
to
in the
many of them.
polls.
That's how you know how everyone is thinking.
Yes.
Because you've talked to many of them.
Yes, called
That
polls.
that what is that? That is. So you talk to many of them. Therefore, you know that all of them think a certain way.
Yes, it's called a poll. Polls show that when you take
Okay.
a sample size
Okay.
of the
Well,
people,
then we're gonna have to leave it at that.
listen to the answer. So when you take a poll of scientists, which has been done, and you ask them, is it literally impossible for there to be no God? They do not say yes. They do not say no. They say no. They say, do you need a God for any kind of an order? They say no. They believe a God, yes. They believe that a God created the universe. Do they think that's literally the only thing that can account for order? No. That's no. Stephen Myers doesn't say that. The most crazy creationists don't say that. They don't say that literally you have to have a mind to have any order. No one believes that. That's ridiculous. Like obviously you don't. No one is arguing that literally it's impossible to have any order at all without a mind. That is a really dumb argument. That's like saying that it's impossible for there to not be order. Like if anything exists, if a God exists, order has to precede that God. There's no way to have not order. There has to be an order, no matter what. It's ridiculous to think that you need a mind to have order. No one argues that in science. Not even the most ridiculous creationists argue that.
Okay. You just said that because you spoke to a few, you know what?
No,
all of
because I
them
have a
think?
poll of the majority of scientists. I have a poll from the scientists who have polled all of the scientists. They do not believe this nonsense that you're saying.
I don't know what poll you're talking about. I mean,
Phil
maybe you could cite it.
Survey's paper, the Fundamental
Okay,
Attitudes of
well,
Physics
like-
poll. I have dozens of these polls. I know this for certain. No one is saying what you're saying.
That people who believe in God are saying that they not necessarily have to be a God.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, well, yeah. Produce that, and then I'll be
absolutely.
I'll be,
That's something
okay.
I can absolutely produce because they all agree to this. Like no one says it's logically impossible to not have God. That's not an argument. Not an argument. Except for precepts are the only ones who do say that. I do know precepts do say that.
Okay. Well, again, yeah. These people look out into the universe. They do see a God. You're saying that they're saying that it's possible that it cannot be a God.
Yeah.
They may not be sure. They may not be sure, as sure as I am. But I mean, that would be the only difference. Maybe they're not as sure.
Yeah.
But so what?
Well, so that was the point is that they're not claiming the same thing you're claiming, that it's impossible for order to come about without a mind.
No. I'm not saying that it's no. What I'm saying is like that they see creation and see that a creator did it.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Oh, I'm calling it order. They're calling it creation.
No.
A creator created creation.
Wait. So
someone who believes in God believes that the universe was created.
Yes, I agree.
By a creator.
I agree.
They're not calling it order.
So wait. So my argument here is that God is not required for order. It is possible to have order without a God. You're saying no. It's not possible. It's not possible to have order without a God. Scientists agree with me. They say that yes, it is possible to have order without a God. It doesn't require a God. Now they think that yes, there is evidence that this is evidence that indicates a God. It isn't required though. They don't think it's necessary. They think yes, it is possible for this to have come about without a God just fine. So it's like saying there's water on the lawn. It could be the rain or it could be a sprinkler. So the scientists say yes, it could be the rain, but it could also be a sprinkler. It could be God, it could be not God. Both of those are possible. You're just saying, no, it can't be both. It's not even an option. So you're disagreeing with the scientists. The scientists say, yes, it could be both, but I don't think it is. I think it's one or the other. You're saying, no, it can't be both.
Okay, so this is just such a tiny, fine hair, because all you're getting me on is that I'm certain and they're not. Okay, if that's the only difference, then fuck it. So be it.
Okay, now, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, if they're saying I could be right, they're saying order does lead us. It could be a consciousness, and that's why order is happening. It could be that. Then yeah, it lends credibility to what I'm saying. I'm certain of it, and they're just not certain of it. That's fine with me. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. But my question is that why would you be certain? Because it seems like it seems like it's perfectly reasonable to think that it's caused by a non-mind. Like most scientists would grant this as a possibility. Why do you think it's not a possibility?
Okay. So again, so you going to the water on the grass. I'm going to the a woman could be pregnant or not pregnant analogy. It was the universe was either caused by a mind, the order was caused by a mind, or it wasn't caused by a mind. It was caused by consciousness, or it wasn't caused by consciousness. A or B
Sure.
is yes or no. Okay. So again, if you're saying that it wasn't caused by a consciousness, then it was caused by something with the characteristics of a consciousness. Okay, meaning whatever it was, if it wasn't a consciousness, causes order.
Yeah.
It causes all the order of the universe. It causes everything to come together in the universe. It causes all the galaxies to come together in the universe. It causes life to come about. It causes all those things.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to call that is what I'm calling God. Okay, that thing that causes all the order, that causes all of life, that causes us, that causes this conversation is what I'm calling God. Okay, it's a very physical thing that happens in the universe. I mean, I think that's pretty clear.
So you're calling a quantum field God that has no mind, no intentionality, no love, no personality, didn't rise Jesus from the dead.
What I don't give two shits about Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would just want to make sure. So again, what I'm saying caused the universe is a quantum field. Has no mind, has no consciousness, has no thoughts, has no intentionality. It's just a quantum field. That's it. That's the ultimate fundamental God in my worldview.
Okay, so if you're saying that a quantum field, what are the characteristics of what is a quantum field? Could you please explain that?
A quantum field is essentially a fundamental force in nature that makes up everything else. It is the fundamental essence of everything.
Awesome, great. So the fundamental essence of everything, the force, or the fundamental essence of everything, yeah, is what I'm calling God. Is what people call God. Yeah.
Okay.
The fundamental essence. Yeah.
Do you think God has a consciousness?
Well, it doesn't matter. If you want to call it a force or an essence, I mean that is like so in line with what I'm saying that we just came to an agreement. A force or fundamental essence is what causes order. It causes life. It causes this conversation right now. Yeah, I mean that's
okay.
God.
Do you understand the difference between theism and naturalistic pantheism? Do you know the difference between those two?
Naturalistic pantheism?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
It's Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. It's one of the sections on pantheism. It just means that there is what we have, consciousness, doesn't exist in the fundamental forces. So it's just.
But it does exist.
What?
It doesn't exist in the fundamental forces, but it does exist.
Yeah, like a heart. So there's no heart in the fundamental forces. There's no mind in the fundamental forces. Mind and heart are like the same thing.
Okay. What I'm saying is like that consciousness, or I'm sorry, not consciousness, that fundamental force is causing me to act the way I'm doing right now. It's caused
Sure.
all the order in the universe. It's the fundamental or the essence, the way you put it. I think a lot of people describe God as an essence or a force in essence, the same way you put it, and cause all of this.
Sure.
So I mean, we've now come to total agreement. I
mean,
mean,
sure. Yeah, I can agree with all that. That's perfectly fine. But what I'm saying is whatever that is, the nature of that thing is not like my mind. It doesn't have a mind. It doesn't have anything. Anything in here isn't in there, and it doesn't have a heart. So the consciousness and the heart are both emergent properties that came way, way later, and they don't exist in that thing. Like I'm assuming you would disagree.
No. Because you're using the word mind, and I agree. It doesn't have a mind. Like I can change my mind. God doesn't change his mind. Or it's not a he, it's an it. Okay, it's a thing acting on the universe. It's a real thing acting on the universe. Okay, it doesn't have a mind where it's like, oh, I changed my mind.
Okay, let me see. Does it have a conscious? What do you mean by consciousness? Consciousness, I think of as
it doesn't matter. Well, consciousness doesn't matter anymore because we both agreed that there's a force or a fundamental essence.
Sure.
There's a force, a fundamental essence, causing everything to happen the way it does. That's what everyone's believed since the beginning of time.
Absolutely, I totally agree. But I want to know. But I want to know what is it? So is it more like me? Is the fundamental force that's causing everything more like me, a conscious mind, or is it more like my knife, not a conscious mind? Like which one is more like that thing? That's what I want to know.
Okay. Well, it causes love. It causes like logic. It causes all these things. So if it's able to cause these things, then it tells us something about it.
Why?
Okay, it causes everything to be what it is. So all we have to do is look out into the universe to understand it.
So it causes hearts. Does that mean that it has a heart?
It does not have a heart, a physical heart, a beating heart, or veins,
So why would that be different from logic or love? So it causes logic and love, but it
okay.
wouldn't have logic or love.
So what I'm saying is like that thing can cause a heart says something about it. That thing can cause love and hate says something about it. That it could cause logic says something about it.
What does it
Okay,
say?
so it tells us about it. It's a thing that causes love. It causes hate. It causes logic.
What does it tell us about it? Like it tells us something about it. What does it tell us about it?
Well, its capabilities. What it's capable of. That it created us. Um, we can
Sure.
get into we can get into the to like deeper parts of this, like who we are. So let's move away from God for just 1 second. And what are we? So now we got what God is. We have what God is. God is a force in essence that causes the universe to have order, to have everything it does. We have an agreement on that.
Sure.
So that thing does exist.
Sure.
Some people call it God. Some people don't want to be called a God. So if I didn't call it God, I'd be an atheist that believes in it just like you do. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone thinks there is some fundamental thing to nature for sure.
So atheists and theists is really just nonsense. It's just some people want to call it God, some people don't want to call it God, and this is just as simple as that. If I want to stop worshiping,
well, the difference
if
is,
I
is
want,
that one second, the difference is that theists think that this God thing has a personality. It can interact. It can answer prayers. It is a mind of a conscious mind that can interact with your conscious mind. Whereas atheists think there is no conscious mind there. It can't interact. It's like a force, like gravity, and nothing more. That's the difference.
okay, so different religions have different ideas of what this consciousness can do. I
Sure.
do not believe that I could pray to it and it changes the universe for me. So I say, God, 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 please save my child from cancer. And God hears it and says, you know what? I changed my mind. I was going to kill your kid, but now I'm not going to anymore because your prayers was just so nice.
Well, do you think God could understand you if you pray to Him? Can He listen to you and understand what you're saying?
Well, God is the cause of understanding. Okay, so you can have a relationship with it. Now that's why I wanted to get into what we are, because we already came to an agreement. So maybe we could go into more of where we might disagree. Okay, so we
Okay.
have an agreement that is a fundamental essence that is a cause of all these things. Some people call it God, some people don't call it God. Okay, now what are we? Okay, so this is where we will disagree. You would say that we are just biological things. Okay, I am saying is that we're not just biological things. We have a spirit. Okay, maybe we could start from there, and then we could get into how our spirit and this consciousness interact.
Okay. Is
Okay,
spirit
because
different
that's
from
what you want to
consciousness?
know.
Because spirit, I would say, is like the same as consciousness. Is there a difference there? I don't get it.
No. That's the exact same thing.
Okay.
Exactly right. Consciousness and the spirit are the same thing. Yes.
Okay. So the
Okay.
difference between an atheist and a theist would be is a theist thinks God has spirit. Atheist thinks God has no spirit.
I guess. Well, we're calling it the same thing. I guess what you then that God that has a fundamental force, that essence, I have that same essence also. So
Sure.
I'm gonna throw out the word that. So okay. So I guess where we're getting at is that consciousness is that force or that essence. That's where we're at right now. So that's where we'll get at. I have that fundamental force, the same thing that there's a force out there that causes the universe. I also have that fundamental force. Okay, and I'm calling that consciousness.
Okay, so why do you think that spirit or consciousness is a fundamental force rather than like the heart?
Okay, because that force is causing my hand. So a force causes things to happen. So I could will something to happen. So basically, I guess what we have to get into now is: are we more than our biology? Okay, is there something more? Is there a fundamental force within us? Okay, is there an essence within us that is different from biology? Okay, that is the question that we have now, because we've already came to a bunch of agreements.
Well, just even if it was, let's just grant for the sake of the argument we have these soul things. Why do we think souls? Let's say souls exist. Souls are real. Why do we
Okay,
think souls are a fundamental force that are like intrinsic to nature rather than an emergent property like hearts? So
okay.
hearts are a real thing. Souls are a real
Mhm,
thing, but
mhm.
hearts came about by physical forces. Like there's no heart fundamental force. Heart is a combination of other smaller
Yes,
things. So why aren't souls combinations of other smaller things too? Why do you think it's fundamental?
um, because it is non-physical. It is a non-physical thing.
Okay, let's grant that. Let's say okay,
Okay,
souls are non-physical things, but it can still be a combination of other non-physical things. It's not a fundamental non-physical thing.
but what would it break down to? What non-physical things would it break down to? It is a non-physical thing.
There could be
That's always there.
combinations. There could be combinations of non-physical things, like
So you
non-physical
have to
things
so
can interact.
non-physical things interact, but non-physical things that interact are still separate from one another. So gravity is a separate thing than electromagnetism. They're different, like non-physical things that interact, but they still hold their uniqueness. So that essence that we are has this uniqueness from other non-physical things.
So you're saying in this non-physical world that we've imagined, every single non-physical thing has to be a fundamental thing? Like, why can't there be composite non-physical things?
So just like I have a heart, the heart is made up of fundamental things.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I don't see what the problem here is. So
Well,
the heart is made up.
Yeah, a heart is a combination of fundamental things, but the heart itself is not fundamental. So a soul could be a combination of fundamental non-physical things, but the soul itself doesn't need to be fundamental itself. It could be a combination of other fundamental things.
I see what you're saying, but like, so I guess we have to go back to the beginning of the universe. That essence, or that the force or that essence causes order, causes there to be order. That means that it's fundamental, because it's the cause of the universe doing what it's doing.
Yeah,
Okay,
whatever the
that
force
same
is definitely fundamental. But why do we think it's a soul? Why do we think that the soul part is fundamental?
Okay, what I'm saying is that
Spirit.
soul part, or that force or that essence that causes the universe, that is fundamental, is that same fundamental thing that's within me. So just like that force causes order, I cause order. I cause order in my words. Okay, that's how we know that I'm made up of the same stuff. So all the same stuff in the beginning of the universe that's fundamental makes up my heart. Okay, and just like that fundamental force caused the universe, I'm also made up of some of that fundamental force.
Okay, so
Okay.
anything that can cause order must be the fundamental force. That's your argument.
Well, the fundamental force is what caused. We've just agreed to this. Okay, the fundamental force is what you called. I'm using your words. Okay, that fundamental force is the cause of these things. That's how we know it's fundamental. Okay, that same fundamental stuff is what I'm made of.
Okay,
That's
so
how we know it's
could there
fundamental.
be multiple different kinds of things that can cause order?
It would be that essence.
Why
That
does
is
it
what
need to be one? Why can't there be multiple different kinds of things that cause order?
Okay, but that's like asking me, like, why can't there be multiple different gravities? Why
There
can't
could
there
be.
be a different gravity
There could
here?
be multiple different gravities. There's no problem with
Okay,
that.
well then if you want to call it that, you can call it that.
Wait,
I
wait,
would say
so the problem here is that there could be other things that cause order other
no,
than
no.
like
Whatever that would be that fundamental force. That fundamental force is what causes order.
no, it could be like they're separate forces, completely different. So like there could be one force that causes one kind of order and a different force that causes a different kind
Okay,
of order.
no. Okay, there are no different kinds of order. There's just order. There's either order or non-order. Okay, in the beginning, there was either order or non-order. But I'm saying that we both agreed that the thing that causes order is that fundamental force, the force of that essence. That's the way you put it. The force of that
Sure,
essence is what causes order.
sure.
Okay, so there's no different types of order. There's just order or not.
There that kind of order. That's it. It's not all kinds. There can be multiple kinds of order here. So for example, I can cause a particular kind of order. Like for example, I can build a chair or whatever. That isn't the same as building a universe. Those are different kinds of order. One is rearranging stuff that already exists, and one is generating things that don't exist.
No. Okay, so that now we're getting into how the universe is made. Remember, I told you that everything always existed. Okay, so another misconception that a lot of theists have is that God brought things into being from nothing. There's no such thing as nothing. The idea of nothing is not real. There's no such thing as nothing.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so something didn't come out of it. God did not cause something to come out of it. So in the same way you made the chair, God made the universe. In the same exact way you made the chair. Okay, he didn't make a chair. He didn't make a chair pop into existence from non-existence. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So just the same way you made the chair, God made the universe.
Okay.
Everything always existed.
Okay, that's fine. So why can't there be different kinds of order?
Because a woman's either pregnant or not pregnant. You're asking why can't there be different types of pregnancies?
There could
Okay,
be.
a woman, yeah, but yes, there could be different types of pregnancies, but a woman is either pregnant or she's not pregnant. There's either order or there's not order.
Well, no.
That there could be different types of order, but it's still order.
P or not P, it can also apply to multiple kinds. So you can be a mammal or not a mammal, but there are still different kinds of mammals.
Absolutely.
So
But what I'm
there could be order or not order, but there could still be different kinds of order.
Okay, what I'm saying is like there's a thing that we both agreed is a fundamental force or an essence
Sure,
that causes order.
sure,
What I'm saying is like from that order comes spurs multiple different types of order.
sure,
There was the laws of physics, and then there's a different type of order called life, called
sure.
biological life. And we're saying that there's a fundamental force that causes all of that. If you want to say that it breaks down maybe into different characteristics, like paganism, or something like that, yes, we could talk about that. But I just want to get down certain basic truths about the universe.
So
So again,
that's the point I'm making. So right, we have one basic kind of order that is fundamental, and then there's
absolutely,
lots of different kinds of order that are non-fundamental. They're like they evolve from the fundamental order. So we can make a certain kind of order, just like hearts exist, but the kind of order we make isn't the same kind of order that's the fundamental kind. It's a different kind of order. It's an emergent kind, like the hearts. So
okay,
why
so
do we think that the force that we have is the same as the fundamental force? Because what we have could be a different kind of a thing that's an emergent thing.
I yes, that is true. So, for example, a lot of religious people would say that there's this force called God, and there's this whole other force called the devil. Okay, I think that kind of goes along with what you're saying. Like, why can't there be two different? Like, one causes all the quote unquote good to happen, and another causes all the quote unquote evil to happen, or something like that. Or there could be another God, the God of logic, and that God logic is what mathematicians worship. You see what I'm saying? And another God called love, and that's what the Christians worship. This God called the God of love, or something like that. Like it could break down to different parts. Yes, that is true. That can happen.
So could there be a god of spirits and a god of just another like order without spirits?
Okay, but order. We both agreed that the force of the essence is what causes order.
Yeah, yeah.
So that fundamental, that all the way in the tippy top in the beginning was that one force, that the thing,
Yep,
the capital G God.
yep,
Okay, that causes all the force, is the force of the essence that we both agreed
yep.
causes the order. That could break down into, you could break that down into different characteristics.
Yeah.
God,
So
Jesus.
let's break that down and say that there's one spirit god and one non-spirit god, and they both have different, they're lower levels of order. So spirit isn't at the high capital G God level. Spirit is something lower than that.
Yes. Okay. So yes. So by non-spirit, uh, what I would call that is the material world. The material world is not spirit. So,
Okay.
for example, when people are very materialistic, when they go out for cars, when they live their life for cars, money, hoes, bitches, and stuff like that, that's a very empty life. Most people would say. There's no substance to it. There's no. They. That's why people use expressions like people lose. They sell their souls for this empty materialistic nonsense. So that
Perfect.
materialism, you'd be absolutely right.
So
Would
yeah, so we
be
have two. So we have two different kinds of things. We have the
you
material
would
world
call
and
it
we have the
non-spirit.
spirit.
I'm
What?
sorry.
So we have the two. We have the two things. We have the material world and the spirit, and those are two separate things that are emerging from this fundamental order. And we want
Yes.
to know the fundamental order. Is it more like the spirit or is it more like the material world? I think it's more
Well,
like the material
well,
world.
will both exist. So, for
Yep,
example,
both exist.
I'm a yeah, both exist. So right now, I'm made up of two things. I'm made up of my spirit and this physical world.
Yes.
Okay, the physical world is your evidence that there's a spirit behind this thing talking to you. Do you see what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
the evidence you're seeing is this physical, what you call empirical evidence.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the problem?
Okay, so we agree for the sake of the argument the spirit exists and the physical world exists. Those are both real things.
Yes.
We don't know which one is the fundamental force. One of them is going to be fundamental, one of them is not fundamental. We want to know which one is fundamental.
Okay, we don't need to do that. We could just call them both fundamental, Tom. We don't have to like split hairs and stuff like that. Everything always existed. The whole entire universe always existed.
Well, so like we have a heart
Uh-huh.
and we have genes, DNA. Like one of those is
Uh-huh.
more fundamental than the other. One came first, right?
Okay, but in the way you mean it came first, everything always existed. So nothing technically came first or last.
Well, no, no.
Everything in existence, all of time already existed in the way that you mean it.
No, I don't. I mean, like hearts came after DNA. So my DNA existed way before my heart did.
Yes. Okay,
So
that is the world that
I'm,
we're
so I'm saying the same thing about souls and material world. The material world could have existed way before the souls did. The souls could be something that came about from the material world, or it
okay.
could go the other way around. Maybe the material world came about from the souls. The souls generated the material world like DNA generates a heart. but it could also be the other way around. Maybe the soul is generated by the material world.
Okay. What I'm saying is like what we're doing right here is discussing something that I think is trivial, because like what we do understand is that this spirit or this essence does have control of this material world in the same way I have control of my body. Like there's a spirit or that essence that is causing these words to happen. I'm conscious. Excuse me. I'm consciously doing what I'm doing right now. Okay.
Okay.
So this consciousness, like, so if I go out and kill someone, I would go to jail for intent murder. Okay, because I consciously did it, which means that there's a consciousness controlling my physical biological body.
Okay.
Okay, in the same way, there's an essence, like you called it, a force or an essence that is controlling the physical world, that is causing order, that is causing laws, that is causing biology, is causing all these things. Again, you don't have to call it God. God is just a title. Okay, but that thing exists is the only point. Okay, I wanted to get into us and how we can interact with it.
Like an electrical power generator. My power went out a few times last night. So, but that thing controls the electricity. But that thing isn't more fundamental than the electricity. It's a big metal box that we built. So the fact that it controls electricity doesn't mean it's more fundamental than electricity. It's just a way to control the already existing force. So our spirit could be a big metal box kind of a thing, and it can control the already existing material world, but that doesn't mean it's more fundamental than the already existing material world, right?
Okay. I mean, I like you said, like God creates, like Tom creates the chair.
I'm saying
So
that
God
the
is
spirit,
creating,
the spirit is the power generator. The spirit is the thing that is the chair. The spirit is the thing that was built by the material world. And so even though our spirit can control the material world, just like an electrical power grid can control electricity, that doesn't mean it came before the electricity.
Yeah, you're saying, but something is causing the other thing. Okay,
Yes.
so something's in control. Something's causing the other thing.
Yes.
Okay, what I'm saying is that it's the essence controlling the material world. Okay, if you're saying, but what if it's the material world controlling the essence?
Yes.
Okay, but then what we're doing right here is we're saying, like, but what if lies are the truth, and what if truth are lies? What if a bad smell is actually a good smell, and a good smell is actually a bad smell? Like something is controlling the other thing. Like this is now like trivial. I mean, because we've already made all the meaningful concessions. Like
So again, what we're saying here is that the material thing could control or create the spiritual thing, just like I can create a power generator, and the power generator can create electricity, but that doesn't mean that the power generator is before like all electricity. So it's not like we needed a power generator to create all electricity. Electricity existed way before the power generator did, but power generators can control electricity. So there can be something that has been created like a spirit which can control the material world, but that doesn't mean we need a spirit before anything in the material world or to control anything in the material world, just like we don't need a power generator to create any kind of electricity. A power generator is just something that we've created to create electricity, but there's other ways to do it.
yeah, so God exists inside of the universe. So I'm not saying that this force or this essence, again, I want to keep on using the same words, came before. I'm not using that language. Again, in the same way that
Right.
stuff.
So before, I mean, like just it could be at the same time or fundamental or something. So I'm specifically saying it came after. The spirit came after the material world.
It's fundamental. It created the laws.
Right, and I'm saying that's not the case. So
okay,
the laws created the spirit. The spirit didn't create the laws. So the spirit is like a generator. The spirit is a power generator that humans built. We don't need a power generator to create all electricity. Like obviously we create power generators to control electricity, but electricity existed before power generators, right? Like we agree electricity existed way before power generators.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
We have spirits, and our spirits are like a power generator. They were created by the world to control matter, but matter existed way before spirits did, just like electricity existed way before power generators did. Like why is that a problem?
But created. If it was created, it was done by an essence or that because it's the essence or the force that does the creating.
Yeah, the
force
is
the thing that creates the order.
Yeah, the force created our spirits, but it wasn't a spirit.
I'm sorry, but if our spirits got created, then a spirit is doing it. The spirit or that force or that essence is the thing that is doing the creating of the order. Okay, so the order is caused by this thing. We already agreed to that.
Okay, okay.
Also,
So
I'm sorry, I
we
said
get rid of the word created. It generates through random changes. Random changes in the physical order create
okay.
spirit.
Okay, there's no such thing as randomness in the way that you mean it, because order is the opposite of random. But also, I just have to cut you. It's just 2:30 a.m. where I am.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah,
So
that's
with
so yeah. It was great talking with you. You probably have to go to bed pretty soon, so I'll definitely wrap up here. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time to have a conversation with me. And if you want to tell everyone where they can find you, like if you have a link to your social media or something.
yes, anyone could go to my channel. God's Final Messenger is the name of the channel. On that channel, I describe how the universe works completely. Um, as you can see, I think that Tom and I have come to a lot of agreements, and I would say that the disagreements are almost trivial for the most part. But everything I'm saying is factual. I'm trying to get debates with physicists. I'm trying to get debates with lots of people. So guys, come check me out. Thank you, Tom, for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was a fun conversation, and I will let you go. I'm going to stay on for a bit because I got some announcements for my channel and stuff. But thanks again.
Thank you.
Oops. That's not what I wanted. All right, guys, before I go, I do want to mention this episode is sponsored. This is a sponsored episode by Atheist in Cloth t-shirts. He's got my t-shirts now. I need to make it my screen bigger. How do I do that? You full screen, maximize. There we go. That's sort of bigger. TJump banner. Hide. Oh, that doesn't work. All right. So yeah, so this episode is sponsored. Got t-shirts. So this is actually a really nice t-shirt. Like this is like actually colored in. It's not a sticker, so it actually stays really well. Check out in my description for the merch store to get the t-shirts if you're interested. They are really cool. And also I got mugs. I got mugs. Check out my mugs. Got my chair on it and my logo. It's on the bottom. Yeah, some copy there. So yeah, thanks guys. Sponsored episode. Buy t-shirts and buy mugs. Guess I don't know. Should I like stay after like modern day debate does and just chat for a while? That would be interesting. Anybody got any questions? Want to super chat any questions or something? Sponsored by TJump recliners. That's exactly right. I'm trying to get a Lazy Boy sponsorship so I can get some free chairs. That'd be nice. Trade you my soul for the t-shirt. Yeah. Yeah, so mugs and shirts, links in the description. Linktree. I should probably put it up on screen, but I'm too lazy. Linktree. Or they're individually out there. Why do I do this to myself? Because I need a job. Like I don't want to actually work, and this gives me money. So give me donations and buy stuff so I can continue to do this and don't have to go to McDonald's to work because that would suck. I'd probably go to Starbucks though. More coupons there. Kyle, let's play chess. Like yeah, we can do that. Play chess. I just use Elite Chess, so you'd have to send like a friend or because they have a private game option, so you'd have to like send a friend link. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to play chess with me sometime, join my Discord and we can set up a game. The mugs are like $20. They're pretty cheap. Really nice. Get out my guitar. I could do that. Thank you, Raw Nakedness. Naked. Hey, Carlos from the UK. Good to see you. Atheist in the Cloth is in the chat. He's saying that the shirts look great. Maybe a little biased there, but it's your job watching TJump. That doesn't pay too well. Like it pays in funnies. It pays in laughs. That's the best kind of pay. Yeah, Adam put a link in the description for the shirts, for the mugs. That was for the mugs. Yeah, they're $20 for the big mugs, and it also comes with this kind, with the top. This one does not have a top. Who do I think some of the best? Who do you think were some of your best discussions debates? Matthew, I actually have a what's it? I have a playlist on my YouTube channel of all my favorite debates. Those are on there. I like my ones with Rob Coons and Robin Collins and Luke Barnes and Richard Brown. How much for the chair, Felix? If you sent me like $1,000, I'd give you the chair, and I'd buy a new one. But if you would like an invite to that new social media platform, Clubhouse, I don't even know what that is. Invitation only social media app for Android where users can communicate in voice chat rooms that accommodate groups of thousands of people. It's Discord. Why is there a private Discord app? Have I ever heard an argument for God that made me think for a minute? Like lights and colors prove God. That one was hilarious. That one definitely made me think for a bit. But I think you mean in the more positive sense. I guess yeah. So the absolute best argument for a God is the argument from the Hindu's prediction of the age of the earth. The Hindu holy texts predicted the age of the earth was like 4.3 billion years. It's like between 0.0001% of the actual age. That is real evidence. Like if you can predict the age of the earth 6,000 years ago, that's really impressive. That's real evidence. So Hindus actually have a very little amount, but real evidence that God exists. So their argument is significantly better than the Christian evidence, for sure. Matthew Simpson, can you summarize Luke Barnes' argument? He seems to make a fine-tuned argument, but then claims you can't really conclude anything from it. I think Luke Barnes' argument is essentially the same as Robin Collins. So if you saw my summary of my conversation with Robin Collins, it's on there. Essentially, it's that if you have a hypothesis that predicts the fine-tuning, and then using essentially the same Bayesian epistemology, it's more evidence of that conclusion than the negation of that conclusion. It's a really bad argument. But so Bayesian epistemology is terrible because it only compares the hypothesis to the negation of the hypothesis. So like if the options are God or not God, what created the universe? Well, then if there's literal nothingness creating the universe is very unlikely. Whereas if there's a God creating the universe, that's more likely. So obviously God would be a better explanation, but that's a bad way to analyze evidence because you're not comparing the alternatives. Thanks for joining KCA Randy. I'll see you later. So the better way to assess evidence is to compare different alternatives. Like, was it a God or was it a quantum wave or something? Genius Tracks, aside from dealing with depression, how's life going in general? Staying active, hobbies good, income doing okay. Yeah, depression hasn't improved at all. Life is still garbage because I don't have any hot blondes. Literally the only thing that can make me happy. Staying active, yeah, I bike about 26 miles a day right now. It's about 90 degrees here in Minnesota, so I burn off a lot of water weight. Only about like 1,000 calories for 26 miles, but hobbies, I don't have any real hobbies. I hate doing everything. I just force myself to go around and do crap. Gustavus, yes, I have depression. What created the universe assumes creation. Like, that is true. La Cantina del Adio. But normally when people say what created the universe, they mean like our universe, just the one that before the during the Big Bang. There's obviously something before the Big Bang, which would be like the cosmos. But when we talk about what created the universe, we're usually talking about our universe, not literally everything. If you cut someone's hair without them noticing, would it have an effect on them in any way? And it wouldn't. Without them noticing or it having an effect on them anyway, has an imposition on will occurred. If they like their hair, if they really like their hair and you've cut it, then yes, it would be an imposition. Sigma Ini, I think Tom and I had a lot of agreement. Yeah, that's correct. That was, I don't, just in thinking that we've agreed on a lot of things is weird. But heard of the holy fire? Like, I don't know what the holy fire is. Is that like the burning bush? Zeus predicted the formation of of the solar system before science. Depression has you, not the other way around. That's funny. Yes, please, someone pay for a one-night hot blonde for Tom. I agree. I agree. Send me like a mail order bride from Sweden or something. God has no spirit. Yeah, trying to explain spirit and consciousness and equivocating those terms is really hard. All right, guys. I think that wraps it up. Buy the shirts, and the mugs and stuff. Send super chats. All right, I'll see you guys later. I think I'll be on for Sunday for my Q&A call-in show. Do I have a least favorite apologist? Jay Dyer is my least favorite apologist. You can check out my debate with him. It is a huge dumpster fire where we just yell at each other the entire time. So yeah, Jay Dyer is my least favorite apologist for sure. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. See you later. Thanks for joining.